Against all odds, market is at all-time high. Congratulations. Hello everyone, this is Ahmed Saleh and this is the weekly market recap. So last week was full drama. We started the week with the high escalation with Iran retaliating against US strike, and then next day in the morning we had a ceasefire. So in a matter of few hours we have a huge escalation and a huge de-escalation. Anyhow, regardless of the reason, this is good news for the Middle East. On the market, if you recall, on my last video, I said that I wouldn't be surprised if the market went up, and it went up on Monday when Iran started to retaliate. It went up because of the history of this incident. You can refer back to my last week video and you will see the reason behind me expecting this. On tariff, we had the news on Friday that Trump is threatening Canada again, and despite that, the market went up on Friday. Also, we have seen Trump's several attempts to push Jerome Powell to increase the rates. And even he threatened to hire a replacement and have a shadow Fed chairman. Despite that, and despite the tariff, and despite the war, the market is at all-time high. This shows that we have a very resilient market. So in the S&P 500, you can see here that Monday we closed higher. This is when Iran struck. And then the next day we had the ceasefire and the market gapped up, and it continued up throughout the last 3 days, and we ended on a very strong note despite Trump's threat to Canada. Exactly the same performance in the Nasdaq, right? So the market went up by 3.4% in the S&P, 4.3% in the Nasdaq. What we need to take care of that this increase is limited to the mega cap and the large cap. The equal weight is lagging behind last week, and also in the year to date is lagging behind the S&P and the Nasdaq, and also the Russell 2000 is lagging behind on the year to date. So the all-time high was achieved because of the increase in the mega cap and the large cap. This can be a good news and a bad news. The good news is that when the other companies start to participate in the trend, then this will push the market up. But it can be a bad news that only the mega cap and the large cap are the ones that are driving the market up. So it's only few companies that are driving the market up, but it's not a problem because this was the case also in 2023 and 2024. The increase in the market was driven mainly by the Mag 7 companies. Next week, we have on Thursday, the unemployment rate. We are expecting about 4.2%. And we have an early close. Friday is off because of the Liberation Day. We might get some news on the tariff because the deadline of the tariff is July 9th. So there are many reports that Trump is going to delay the deadline of the tariff because there is only 1 or 2 countries now that reached a deal with US. For the trading strategies, I'm trading now the stocks that are breaking out of the 52 weeks high or all-time high. Let's see a few examples of these stocks. If you don't know what to do, just go to the QQQ and SPY. In the QQQ, it is mirroring the Nasdaq, and you can see that it is at all-time high. This is the 3rd day that is crossing the all-time high, so it's okay. You can go into this ETF. The SPY, which is mirroring the S&P 500, has just crossed the all-time high. So the good thing about that is that you can have the stop loss at the all-time high, and if it crossed this stop loss, which is just like 1% away, you can go out. So your risk here is very minimal. The same here in the triple Q. You can have the stop loss at 540. Today is at 548. So you have only 1.5% risk. If it crossed that, you go out. The third one that I would like to highlight is an ETF for the technology sector, the XLK. It has also crossed the all-time high, and you can take the all-time high as your stop loss. And also the 21 moving average is approaching the previous all-time high. So it's going to add more strength to this all-time high as a stop loss. Next one is Microsoft. And actually Microsoft is flying and doesn't care about what's happening. It crossed the all-time high at the beginning of June, and it is continuing to go up regardless of what is happening. So it's a very strong stock that you can go in, and you can have the stop loss 5% below the current price. The next one is NVIDIA. Just crossed as well the all-time high. It is the 3rd day that is crossing the all-time high, so you can take the previous all-time high at 153 as your stop loss. In this case, it will be around $4.50, which is about 3%, which is an acceptable risk. Next one is CLS. You can see that it is the third day that it's crossing the all-time high. It's at 152.6. The previous all-time high is at 144. So this is around $8. So if you would like to have some more room, you can go to this stock. One last thing about gold. So gold has broken now the 21 days moving average and the 50 days moving average. This is a very bad sign for the gold. And of course, because of the ceasefire that happened, because also the market is achieving all-time high, so you might think of going out, because my stop loss here was the 50 days moving average and it crossed that. So this is a very bad signal. If you want to wait a little bit, then you can take the 300 as your exit point, and the last exit point is this point at 292. After that, the behavior of the gold will be very bad. So anyhow, it is moving horizontally since mid-April. Yes, it achieved this year 30%, but investors are looking for other areas because they already achieved 30% year to date. So they are looking for other areas to make profit, and this is now the stock market. All right, that was it for this video. If you like the video, please press like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel. This video is for educational purpose only and is not intended to be considered as a financial advice. Any trade you make is at your own risk. Thank you very much. Have a great week, everyone.